Coming up in this episode of Finding Common Ground.
Chuck Schumer is hiding under the desk somewhere. Chuck, let me tell you what my bone to pick with you is this. You surrendered, so just take it. Just let the history books tell the truth about you, but you rigged it so that when the official vote was taken, it looked like you stood up against it, and you didn't. You didn't. So that's why we need to replace you as our leader.
There are two sides to every coin.
How do we deal with racial issues when they affect relationships?
Finding common ground on all those issues that we come against.
There's black and there's white.
And I think as Christians, we have to learn how to get together because we're not in heaven.
I've met more interesting people just by God just bringing them in.
Republicans and Democrats.
But a lot of times, when it comes to race and it comes to culture and it comes to perception, even as Christians, we don't always understand. We look at it through our lenses.
There's Bill.
I grew up in a suburb of Cleveland called Parma.
Any black people in Parma?
There was not one.
Not one black person,
Not
Bill?
one.
Come
Not
on, Bill.
one.
You got to have one. A
Nope.
token black person? A token?
And there's Odell.
I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina, public housing, single mom, divorced single mom of 4 kids. And I came up through segregation and all that kind of stuff.
If a black person drove through the town, the police would stop and escort them out.
Bill and Odell are finding common ground.
A part of what we have to do is listen to each other, find the common ground, and question, not questioning you like you're on a witness stand, but questioning you for better understanding. Father God, we come to you today in the precious name of Jesus Christ. God, we just thank you for grace and mercy, and we thank you for rest, downtime, and relaxation. Now that we're refueled and refreshed, we're ready to go. So God, we thank you and we praise you. In Jesus' precious name we pray and believe. Amen.
Dear Heavenly Father, just thank you for my friendship with Odell. Thank you for the break we've had for a number of months. It feels good to be back. And Lord, as we go about our week, let us be safe as we travel. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Goebel, how you doing, sir? Welcome back.
Hey, I think I grew some hair while we were gone.
Okay. Well, maybe
Not on my head.
Yeah, okay, that's how it works. So, question for you to our fans and those who listen to the show. We want to say thank you for taking a hiatus, allowing us to take a respite and a hiatus. We're back now, and many of you have been contacting us and asking the question when we'll be back. So we're back now. So a lot has changed since the last time we've talked. We have a new president, as you know, and our new president and his administration is wide open, doing a lot of things. And I will say to my party leader in the Senate, Chuck Schumer, Chuck, you surrendered. You surrendered like a yellow dog, Chuck. You surrendered. You rolled over. And then you didn't even have the decency to go ahead and say you voted for it. You went, so history will say you voted against it, but you were for it. That's the kind of stuff that we don't like, Bill. We don't like our leaders who won't be a leader. Chuck, you could come from under the desk now. You could come from under the desk. Because the way it looks right now, Speaker Johnson and Donald Trump is your daddy, Chuck Schumer. Who's your daddy?
Yeah, it's been interesting couple months. There's no doubt about it. But in the last, I think the last episode we had was probably before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And so what's happened to you since Thanksgiving?
A lot's happened to me, Bill. As you know, I'm retiring from my quote unquote corporate job, chief administrative officer at the great church on May the 15th. And I'll be doing a lot of things with my company at that time. So a lot is happening. We are moving to Charlotte area, building a house there, selling a house here.
Oh my goodness.
Just a lot of transition,
goodness.
clearing out storages and boxing up things and deciding what's going to Goodwill, what's going to the dumpster, what's going to what we're going to keep. So it's a lot going on in the Cleveland household right now. But, we're here. We have a strategy. We have a plan. And the good thing about it, things are going well. We went down to Charlotte this past weekend and picked out some cabinets and where the electrical things are going. And on the way home, it was a bad accident. We're sorry for that. And we sat in traffic for 4 hours.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yes. That's the first time that's happened to us in a long time.
Wow.
But I'm sure that happens to a lot of our listeners every day where accidents happen on the interstate.
Wow.
And a bad accident, and they shut it down, and you sit there and move around for 3, 4, 5 hours until they get it straight.
Boy, I hope you didn't run out of gas.
Nope, didn't run out of gas. We were able to happen right by Salisbury, so we were able to snake it around, on alternative route and all that. But it takes a while.
Wow.
But someone probably lost their life, Bill. So we just have to look at the pros and the cons of everything.
Yeah, driving. I drove back from Cleveland yesterday, and we hit a tremendous thunderstorm most of the way, and there were people hydroplaning. I actually hydroplaned a little bit and almost went into a tractor trailer.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah. He was moving over to a lane. I didn't realize he lost his lane, and the water kept pushing me closer and closer to him. And fortunately, I was able to get out of that. But tell us about this $100 million project that you're in charge of for your church.
Well, we're partnering with building a major healthcare facility with a major healthcare entity that looks like we're on the 1 yard line, getting that across. Hopefully we'll have that finished this month. We're building senior housing, about close to 300 units of senior housing,
that's
upgrade senior housing. Yes. We're building a bunch of condominiums and a bunch of single family homes, and we're building a state-of-the-art performing arts center. So it's a lot going on.
Going to be a little store, like convenience store there too?
Well, not a convenience store, a little bougie for a convenience store, Bill, but we have a pharmacy and we have some other things there too. So it's nice. It feels good to end your career doing something that you won't benefit from. It's almost like planting trees that shade you won't sit under. But at the end of the day, what better place for a mega African-American church to exercise its rights as far as 40 some odd acres of undeveloped land that's going to develop. And I had the privilege of to sit in the seat and help lead that effort.
How long is that project going to take?
3 to 5 years.
So you're going to be around for 3 to 5 years.
Well, it's already taken a year. So one thing you find about development is the infrastructure is so much time, energy, and effort with the attorneys, with the zoning, the annexation, the architects, and the city council meetings, getting everything, the neighborhood HMOs, homeowners association, meeting with them, letting people in the community know, letting the church know, the leadership know. You're doing a lot of explaining to people who want to understand. And also you're doing some explaining to people that no matter what you say, they don't want it at all.
Yeah. There's got some people that get no sayers. Have you presented the idea to city council or the county commissioners?
I've talked to some of them individually. Mm-hmm. I'm scheduled in about a month or so to go in front of the city council and go from there. So we're excited about that. So far, we're getting a lot of positive feedback because, as you know, the city of Greensboro has set a goal for 10,000 new homes in the next 3 to 5 years. So the city has put it out there, the city manager, the mayor, the city council, everybody understand that the great job that we're doing recruiting industry to this area, we don't have homes for them. And one of the main ones is Toyota Battery Company. They're supposed to be hiring 3,000 to 6,000 people.
Yeah.
We have Publix who's hiring thousands of people, and we have a lot of people coming to the Triad area.
Yeah, Boom is another one.
Boom's another one. And congratulations to
jet.
Boom Supersonic. We had you all on the podcast about a year or so ago, and you talked about breaking the sound barrier, and you just broke the sound barrier. Yep. So it's good to see the progression. But again, people need houses and infrastructure and all the things that we're able to provide. So we feel good about it. But it's still work, though, Bill. It's still work.
Yeah, I heard that Boom actually has figured out a way to break the sound barrier without a boom.
Okay.
So you'll be boomless.
So Boom will be boomless. Now, what we need to do, Bill, we need to figure out one thing. I don't want to sound negative, but I'll be a little bit negative. But one thing I must say, though, our President Trump, is doing exactly what he said he's going to do. He was going to do. I'm not a fan of him. Everyone know my thing was no Biden, no Trump 2024. However, Trump is in there. Chuck Schumer is hiding under a desk somewhere. So, the good thing about it, we need Nancy Pelosi back. We need Nancy back, or we need Chuck to put on one of Nancy's skirts or dresses. I mean, whatever we need to do, because Nancy was a fighter. It was funny. We woke up this morning and the White House denies that judge's order to deport, El Salvador 250 alleged gang members. Now, I ain't mad at that. I'm not mad at that. First and foremost, let me say that. I'm not mad at that. But what the Trump administration said, well, we didn't defy her orders to stop and turn around. We just interpreted it a different way, and that's just the way it is. And I remember when he first got elected, we were talking, and I said, hey, Bill, tell your people in Ukraine, buckle up, buttercups, because, hey, ain't no love for Ukraine. And what happened since then, from your perspective, because you went to Ukraine, you saw what happened in the White House. I mean, what do you think on the whole Ukraine thing? And Putin and President Trump's talking this week. So it's a lot. And they said, hey, we're going to divide it up. We're going to come to an agreement and divide it up. And I guess Ukraine said, divide what up?
Yeah, they're not interested in that. They're not, Ukraine's lost a lot of people, and they didn't start the war. So it's a shame that it's going to happen, that they're going to settle and they're going to have to give up some land. They're not going to be accepted in NATO. They're not going to get any guarantees to keep Putin out. So in 3 to 4 years, if Putin wants to go back in, he goes back in. And, the ironic thing is Ukraine had nuclear weapons, and we told them if they would turn them over to us, we would give them protection. And that agreement's long gone. No one even remembers it. I do have another question.
Yes.
You have another podcast. It's called P is for Prostate.
Uh-huh.
Tell us about that.
P is for Prostate is a podcast that I came up with when I had a prostate scare about a year ago. And I have been just doing that just as a way of helping other men in particular, and those who love them, be aware of health, just one's overall health. As you know, we've lost X amount of pounds, and we've been able to keep the majority of it off. But going into your 60s, now all of a sudden you could go to bed feeling good, and you could wake up the next morning with some ache and pain, and you like, where'd that come from in my sleep? So you just want people to get stuff like prostate examinations done. You want them to get colonoscopies done. You just want to get a lot of the things. Go to your cardiologist, just a checkup and a benchmark, because if something happens, Bill, you don't want people to say, if we would have caught it a couple years earlier. And that's what's working. And that podcast is taking off like crazy.
Good.
AARP is an article coming out in the April edition of AARP's national magazine, is going to talking about it. So all in all, God's been good. God's been good. And the thing about it, when you're out there being a drum major for health, how can you not make a concerted effort to take care of oneself?
Yeah, yeah. If people want to listen to it, how do they get to it?
Just go to Google P is for Prostate, and it's right there. It's right there wherever you get your podcast from.
Oh, that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. One of the other things is just a little update on us, the Global family, since Thanksgiving. Our daughter Elisa Kay donated a kidney to Big Ed here in town.
Yep, she gave a kidney,
and she just recently donated part of her liver, which regenerates, to an 8-year-old girl.
Okay, say that again, Bill. So she gave a kidney to a black guy, Big Ed.
Uh-huh.
And she gave half of her liver to
an 8-year-old girl.
An 8-year-old girl in
Cleveland.
in the
I think, well, it was at the Cleveland Clinic that they did the procedure, so I'm assuming she was in Cleveland for the operation, but
And
I don't know where she lives.
And Big Ed's in Greensboro. Do you
Yeah.
still see Big Ed?
Oh, yeah, I see him on a regular basis. He picks up his shirt and shows me his scar all the time.
And what did you tell him?
Put your shirt down, boy. I walked in there with the scout executive from Cleveland to show him our cigar bar, and Big Ed was there, and I told Mark Ryan, I said, Mark, this is the fellow that EK donated her kidney to, and doggone it, if Big Ed didn't pull up his shirt right in front of this guy, and he goes, okay.
You know what? Big Ed was probably going to die, Bill.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, the essence, and really, when you
He was
really
on
think
dialysis.
about it, yes, the essence of it, she helped save his life.
Yeah, and I think same with this little girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where did she get that fortitude from?
Her mother.
So, boy, you didn't even let me finish my sentence. Her mother, not. Okay.
Yeah. Dory gave away a kidney too, and so she picked it up from that. You know, in my case, they don't want any of my body parts. They're a little pickled.
No comment at all. So, Goebel, what's the latest thing with Goebel and politics? I got a lot of things I want to talk about.
I see that.
But yes. And
we got two shows here.
Yes. So go ahead. What's the latest? You know, you got the Republican town halls going on now, and people just getting chewed out. And Speaker Johnson said, hey, y'all just refrain from having them. Don't meet with your constituents. What do you think from a political perspective of Bill Goebel? What's Bill Goebel's next political move, if any?
Probably going to sit tight, probably run for school board in 4 years, but I'll stay close to things. There's been a request for me to run for city council. I'm not going to do that. Dory's better at that than I am. I've got so much has happened with my two businesses and our nonprofit that I really don't have much time anymore. I don't have the bandwidth. And so that's been keeping me busy. And then you and I are leaving this in about 30 minutes. We're going down to the Toyota plant. Toyota's hiring us to teach like 3,000 people about Kaizen, and I'll think of the other word in a minute. And
Kaizen, not Tarzan.
Kaizen, look it up, Google it.
Okay.
It begins with a K.
You know, it's interesting. Toyota coming to the area and opportunities to teach and train and all the things that we get an opportunity to do. And it's just, did you get your $5,000 stimulus check yet, Bill?
No, I didn't know there was one coming.
Yeah, stimulus check from, what's the guy name? What's the vice president name? What's his name? Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is getting us?
Elon was saying,
I thought he was the president.
No, Elon's not the president. Elon's the vice. Yeah, I'm sure. Elon's not the president. At least something changed overnight. Now, things change real quickly. I thought Elon was like the vice. I don't know. What's that thing called? Because J.D. Vance is the vice. Donald Trump is the president. J.D. Vance is the vice president. And Elon is what? Because I see Elon more than I see J.D.
Doge. He's head of...
I know what he's head of, but Elon's act like he's running the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I think Trump's letting him do it. Do you think Trump's going to eventually turn on Elon Musk?
Listen. Come on, man. Does a dog have fleas?
Yeah, just give it a little time.
You're always making me choke.
Yeah.
I just think it's a point of they have common interests, common focus. Elon's dollars and his ability or willingness to invest those dollars into things he believes in or buy things. And he believes in Donald Trump. I'm not going to say he bought the presidency. I think he bought his way into the presidency.
Yeah, he gave him $250 million. That would open the door.
Definitely.
At least you take the call.
Right. But he's more than the call. Elon says, I want airtime. And the thing
he's got an office in the White House.
Oh, man. You serious?
Yeah. Yeah, he's got an office in the White House.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, not far down the hall. And, you know, the White House isn't a very big place.
No, I've been there several times, so I know. But one of the things, Bill, is this, something that struck me somewhat odd when I, was doing my research, and it says the South African ambassador is expelled from the United States said he's no longer welcome in the country. They said that South Africa is going to be sanctioned and accused of being anti-white and anti-American. So Cape Town, South Africa, when I was in college, that was the thing because of the Krugerrand and the whole apartheid stuff. And the South African is saying that is misinformation, accused the South African government of a rights violation against white Afrikaner farmers. And it's funny, Bill, because you said, I say, that one struck home because, in your college days, that was one of the cause, South Africa, Nelson Mandela, blase, blase, blase. And it says 30 years after the end of the apartheid system, white minority rules is 7% white people, and they call it Afrikaners, farmers in South Africa, and they own or control like 90% of the land. And what America is saying is that we're going to punish and sanction South Africa because South Africa's government is starting to say, well, let's kind of look at how all this is divided up, because I think Africa may have been controlled by Africans at first, but they're saying, no, we don't want that. And President Trump has offered Afrikaners, farmers, that's the white South Africans, refugee status in the U.S. and a fast track to U.S. citizenship. But the group representing them says they want to stay in South Africa. Why leave? I mean, 7% white, 93% black in South Africa, and the 7% controls about 90% of the wealth, and you want them to leave? And they're like, but the people there are saying, well, we think you may have stole some of the land from us. How did you get control of this? We know the history, of course, and we want to kind of reshuffle the cards. And America is saying, if you reshuffle the cards, then you are anti-white and anti-America. And my question is America and white the same thing? And I thought we had that conversation about a year ago, but it appears that we're leaning back to that conversation with this administration. And the most famous South African that I know of is Elon Musk.
Yeah, he's white.
So where do you think the idea may have came from? I mean,
I wonder if he owns any of that land in South Africa.
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the things that make you say, okay, America, come on now. Come on. Where are we going? What are we doing? And if we're doing this, are we really going to do this? Are we really doing this? And that's the case, because we understand birthright citizenship's ordered. We understand DEI. We understand all that. But South Africa? We're getting into that, foreign affairs. So I don't know, Bill. 18th century law says, hey, that was evoked and sent the people out. Don't have no problem with it. Hey, if anybody see Chuck Schumer tell I said he could come from out from under the desk, we understand, He can come back now.
Maybe you have to send him to South Africa, help them out.
I don't know, because Chuck, let me tell you what my bone to pick with you is this. It's all right for you to say you don't believe in this, but don't vote another way. Don't go in so that the history book says you were against something and you weren't against it. Don't do that, because that's a lie. Don't throw a rock and hide your hand. You were the leader. You caved in. You surrendered. So just take it. Just let the history books tell the truth about you. But you rigged it so that when the official vote was taken, it looked like you stood up against it, and you didn't. You didn't. So that's why we need to replace you as our leader. We need somebody to replace you, Chuck Schumer. You need to resign. You need to resign from that position.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you think he should have resigned. It sounds like you believe he should.
I believe he should.
Yeah.
I believe he should. Because it's okay for you to be afraid of the bully. I get it. And you're saying, well, if I do this, if we shut down the government, then Doge is going to come in and Trump and Musk are going to come in and they're going to decide who comes back, and that's going to wreck the government. News break. Chuck, they're wrecking the government already. Whether you believe it or not, you playing war games. Trump and Musk is at war with the government. You playing games, man. You playing games, bro. Go back under the table, put on Nancy's dress, and get out the way. Just say, too much for me. I was a great leader when things was calm, but now it's getting hectic, and now they're hitting for real. Contact sport. I don't want to get hit. I'm afraid to get hit by the bully. So just go to the side. One thing I'll say about Ukrainian's president, Bill, he wasn't afraid.
No, he's a pretty tough guy. He's a pretty tough guy. They ganged up on him. They bullied him in that White House. There's no doubt about it. One of the things I see coming out of all this is that Europe is going to start arming themselves. They're going to start making their own weapons, their own ammunition. I suspect that Germany and Poland will develop a nuclear weapon, become nuclear powers. France already has it. And I think what you're going to see is a proliferation of nuclear weapons, and the world will become a much more dangerous place.
If you had a crystal ball, and if you don't, I'll let you borrow mine. I carry running around with me in my back pocket. Trump, strange relationship with Putin. How do you think that's going to play out? First with Ukraine, and then with Europe.
I think at least from what I can see, he has an affinity toward Putin over anybody in Europe. Period. And I think he admires Putin, and it's going to be interesting to see if Putin wants to do a ceasefire. Now, they're supposed to talk tomorrow, and I suspect that Putin will play Trump and give in, and Trump can say, look at what I did, and I saved the world because I got Putin to agree to a ceasefire. Not certain what Trump is going to have to give up to get Putin to do that, and we may never know until, long time from now. So it's a crazy world right now for all that stuff. No doubt about it.
Well, Bill, think about this. If Putin's allowed to invade Ukraine, and for him to stop, then you divide up certain things. Give me this industry, or give me these metals, valuable minerals, or give me this part of Ukraine. Does that give us the right, the United States of America, to go into the Panama Canal and take it back? We're taking it back. Or go to Greenland or Iceland, and they said, we don't want to sell that to you. Said, we're taking it. And they're like, well, what are you talking about? How are you going to succumb to a sovereign country and just take something? We didn't do anything to you. I know, but we're going to take it.
Well, if we take it, if Trump takes it, who's going to do something about it?
Wow.
So who's going to do something?
So might is right.
Nobody's going to do anything.
But what does that say about our country?
Because it's not the way our country was made to do.
Well, unless our country
why don't they take Cuba then? Why don't they take Puerto Rico? Why don't they take Saudi Arabia where there's oil? There's a lot of other places we could take. Where does it stop?
Colonialization? Are we going back there? But we're calling something different?
It's been a long time since that.
Think about it. I mean,
well, he just invoked a law from 1790, so he's not afraid to go backwards.
1798.
Yeah.
1798.
Yeah.
So,
and I am old, but I wasn't there when that law passed.
No, I get it. but I think what we have to understand, what history says, the Roman Empire, some other empires, what history says is that trees don't grow to the sky. Karma comes around from time to time. And when you put yourself in a position of taking advantage of other individuals, then your arm's too short to fight with God, first and foremost, and you can't fight with everybody at the same time. So if America, because America is democracy and it's a concept of what we think, the founding fathers didn't get it 100% right, but they did a good job on laying things out. And we have something in our system bill called checks and balances. That was a big deal. We have the legislative branch, we have the executive branch, and the judiciary branch. We have federal judges. We have all these different ways to check and balance ourselves. And if we say that we're not going to check, if this administration says you can't check me, so I'm going to push all the boundaries because my interpretation of anything is I'll find a way. If it means I'm going to go get a 1798, the Aliens Enemy Acts of 1798 and apply it, I'm going to do it. But does that mean that if I want to take Panama Canal, I'm going to take that? If I want to take Greenland, I'm going to take it. Who can stop me? That's a dangerous position to be in when we ask ourselves, who can stop us when we won't control or stop oneself?
Yeah. But it's interesting. During World War II, we were in all those countries and took the Germans out and the Italians out and the Japanese out, but we didn't keep the land. We didn't capture the people. We just got rid of the bad guys and said, let's rebuild it. Did a Marshall Plan, rebuilt Europe, rebuilt Japan. And the people now, look at how strong Japan is and Germany is and Poland is and France.
And respect for America. So, Bill, in closing, are we the bad guys now?
Depends who you talk to. We're still a divided country. He won with, I think, 51%. So that's the majority. And in the legal world, if you own 51% of a corporation, you're the owner.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And let me first say, I support President Trump as the president of the United States of America because I believe he was duly elected. Do I agree with it? No. However, one thing about being American, you can't be American when you want to be, and other times you don't. But the good thing about the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, those things which makes America great. Democracy makes America great. Our ability to help others make America great. Do I think there waste, fraud, and abuse in the government? Of course I do. Do I think that some of the foreign aid packages were over time has gotten out of control? Of course I do. Do I think it's all corrupt? Of course I do not. But at the same time, it's like the scope and the pace of the action in Washington now is like, okay, what's the scope? What are we going to do? Elon's up there with a chainsaw, acting a fool. With a chainsaw, like he got elected to something. He said, hey, listen, I bought my seat. I bought my office in the White House, Odell. You don't understand. I paid for this. I paid for the right to get up there with a chainsaw. I paid for the right to be in the picture. I paid for this. And there's some deals that been made that you don't know about. So, Elon, I ain't mad at you, brother. But just be careful what you pay for, because you may just get it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's having fun doing what he's doing.
But what is he doing, Bill?
Well, he's just chainsawing departments. He's going in like he did at X, But, he did that at X.
Yeah, what was it before X? Twitter. It was Twitter.
Yeah. Well, have you seen a decrease in the quality of the product?
I haven't seen. I'm on Twitter, but I don't really use Twitter.
Yeah, neither do I. But it hasn't disappeared.
Yep, he messed it up and hired that young lady to come in and get it right.
Yeah, he took everybody out, and then somebody had to go clean up the mess.
So that's his philosophy. I'm gonna take it all out and let somebody else come in there and clean up the mess. Who's the cleanup person?
I think probably JD.
JD? Oh, I thought you was going to say
JD
Trump.
Vance.
I thought you were going to say Donald J. Trump.
No, he's
Instead of JD, it was DJ.
He's busy playing golf.
He's busy playing golf. Well, American foreign policies, that's where it's going. So now we're, foreign policies, baby. That's it. So DEI is dead. Birthright citizenship is kind of hanging in there. Cape Town, South Africa, look out. Ukraine, what's going on with you, baby? It's a lot going on, Bill. Nancy Pelosi, my Shiro. Where are you, Nancy, when I need you?
She's old. She can't do it anymore. She needs some young blood in there.
Oh my God, you're right.
So
you're
what's
right.
going to happen with the Democratic Party?
The Democratic Party is going to be strong. The Democratic Party is going to get rid of the cowards like Chuck Schumer. We're going to get rid of the cowards. We're going to get rid of the people who, listen, I don't want them to be an obstructionist. I just want you to fight. Even though you're going to get beat up, fight. Don't be afraid. You can't be afraid. Even Opie Taylor on the Andy Griffin show say, Pa, tell me when you got a black eye. That was one of the best shows when Opie was afraid of the bully and the bully boxed Opie in the eye and he got a black eye, but at least he wasn't afraid anymore, Chuck. Get a black eye, man. Get a black eye.
There you go. There you go. I'm seeing DEI disappear, seeing the Democratic Party struggle. What's the future of this country?
Oh, the country's in good hands. The country is good hands. This is democracy. This is democracy at its best. Trump has a right to push the boundaries as far as he wants to push it. And we have a right for check and balances. That's what the country's made of.
Yeah.
He's stretching like a rubber band. I'm going to stretch it. I'm not going to stop myself. You better stop me. And if you can't stop me, then I'm going to go so far. But there's always somebody who will tell you, Odell, when you went too far. Our country's in good hands.
What's the end goal, though?
I think the end goal is a couple things. I think the end goal is a transference of wealth when it's all said and done. Because, you got all these executive orders and this shiny object over here and a shiny object over there and everything. And the end goal is transfer the wealth and the power back to a certain percentage of people in America.
Like when Rockefeller was here and those guys. And
the golden age.
Built more.
The golden age, yes.
So all these individuals become super rich.
I think so. And I think a lot of it's the Silicon Valley, the tech giants. I think there's a lot going that way.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it. Who was standing in line at the inauguration?
Yeah.
He had them all in line.
Yeah.
Come on, you better come. Yes, I know y'all talked junk about me in the past. You better come and bring your pocketbooks with you. Bring your checkbook with you, and I'll tell you how much to put in that pay. I'll tell you the amount.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're right. He did have a lot of techies there. There's no doubt about it.
And Bill, he's a lame duck president. See, so the danger is
don't. He's going to run for another term.
Oh, come on, Bill. Come on, Bill.
Hey, Roosevelt did.
So you think that
if he's
Congress
healthy, he's gonna go for it.
Oh, come on. So it's no more two-term presidents.
You don't need to.
Isn't the law, maybe I'm wrong, isn't the law that you could only run twice, whether it's consecutively or
Yeah, but he
not?
can change the law. He can change it. Take it to his Supreme Court. They gave him ultimate power. You know what he did? I heard today. Biden gave pardons to some people.
Yeah.
Trump revoked them.
Yeah, Trump said, I don't care about nothing about that.
No, those don't stand up.
Isn't that ridiculous?
I'm going after you guys.
Yeah, isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah.
But Trump gave pardons to January 6th.
Yeah, those people were all innocent. They're just looking for lollipops in the. Yeah. I mean,
America. But we're gonna be all right, y'all. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay because one thing America has.
Sorry, I gotta tell you because I'll forget. I'm old. How are your buddies at Panera Bread in the morning?
Oh, my buddies having a fit. They're having a fit on me. They are having a fit.
They love it.
They are, man, they have offered me to join the Republican Party. Just so you all who may have forgotten doing the break.
Be careful with that.
I have a group of people at Panera Bread on Lawndale Drive. It's a bunch of older gentlemen who's retired, majority retired. They meet from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock every morning. And they sit there, they come in there, take up, and I meet with a lot of my clients there, and they're all Republicans. I think one's a very conservative Democrat, and they give me a hard time. They've been giving me a hard time. We've been giving each other a hard time for years. And so they're just talking about, Odell, we want you to become a Republican, I'm not like, no. And we just talk. And they are beating me up now. They're beating me like I stole something, and I have to take that beating. unlike Chuck Schumer, I'm not afraid to fight and take a beating. So I'm taking a beating right now, Goebel. I'm getting some licks in, but when it's all said and done, I'm in the corner catching my breath. They get me, boy. They get me. They putting it on me, but that's okay.
Like Muhammad Ali did. Rope-a-dope.
Rope-a-dope. Rope-a-dope. I'm waiting for the next round.
Cover up and let them.
Exactly.
They're old. They won't be able to last too long.
But listen, the way those Republican town hall meetings are going, and it's another election coming up in 2026. And, we're organizing. Democratic Party's organizing. The Black church is organizing. And we're having little spats in our organization part, Bill, because our organization, we have white, Black, we got a little bit of everybody in our group. And so now we're saying what's at the top of the pecking order. And I was in a meeting with some folks the other day, and they're like, we have to, do this and do this, immigration, and do this and do this, LGBTQ rights, and do this and do this, da-da-da. And I raised my hand up, as I'm prone to do, and said, as the Black church, I can't speak for all Black church, but as a Black church, immigration is not on the top of our list. It's on the list, but it's not on the top of our list. All these other things. And the things that may have lent itself to people of color, they weren't even talking about it.
Really?
Right.
Really?
Right. And that's not a negative thing.
Yeah.
It's just that they have their agendas.
Yeah.
And Black folk is not part of their agenda.
Until election time.
Then
you become very popular.
So I raised my hand up and said, listen, immigration's not on the top of our list. And everybody looked at me like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. I said it's on the list, but it's not on the top. So we're not putting a lot of energy and effort on that right now, because Black folk ain't hiding people in our churches, and Black folk in America is not getting rounded up at this time.
I'll tell you a story. We were listening to David McCullough. He gave a lot of commencement speeches, and he did so many of them. They made a book called The Spirit of America. So we were listening to it driving back from Cleveland, and he talked about immigration and immigrants. And he used as an example the Capitol building and the White House, and the guy who designed it, people that constructed it. Yeah, they were all slaves. Immigrants. Yeah. Immigrants or slaves.
Yeah.
Then we came home and watched 60 Minutes, and they had a special on this DEI group of musicians found out that 7% of orchestra players are Black. 8% are Hispanic, and 2% are Oriental, or some low percentage. I probably have them wrong. So they decided they were going to step out and offer folks the ability to practice together and learn these instruments. And the Marine Corps band heard about it and said, we want to be part of that. What we will do, you pick the person, say from a trombone, we'll put our trombone person with them, and we'll teach them how to, and we'll do a concert. And so these kids have been practicing for a year. They're all high school kids from all over the country, all different types of races and sex and all that. They're just very diversified. And they're getting ready to do the concert. Trump canceled it. He removed the money, so there's no money. So 60 Minutes heard about it, so they got all the kids. They flew them in and put them up in Maryland. And because the military was forbidden to do anything with DEI, they couldn't do it. So guess who showed up? All the retired players from the military that had on their own ticket flew into Maryland, and they had the concert. And the original concert was going to be just a couple hundred people. Yeah. But because Trump did this and it was on 60 Minutes, it was millions of people.
Bill, that's what I was talking about, America. DEI, affirmative action, all this kind of stuff. We ran the numbers. And the person who benefited the most from DEI, based on what the governmental numbers are white women. Meaning that minority white women are minorities, right? So it's like, you sure you know what you're doing, Trump? And that's the one when you're cutting something with a chainsaw, not a scalpel, a chainsaw. Veterans like 30 to 40% of the governmental workforce?
Yeah, I know. Yep.
That's chainsaw mentality.
Yeah.
And you just start cutting and letting people know, and all of a sudden people who were very strong for President Trump and voted for him, they're out of a job.
Let me tell you, people still vote.
Yeah, people still vote.
Yeah.
I was at the storage unit getting ready, trying to clean.
You have a storage unit?
Oh man,
man.
I done paid for a zillion storage units. I've been having a storage unit for 20 years.
Oh
We were
my
just gonna
gosh.
get it. I done
Oh my
paid
gosh.
for somebody's kids' college, but we was over there and a white couple, two white couples pulled up. And they were in a U-Haul and they had on shorts at the time. It was kind of cold. And I'm like, they don't look like the typical people unloading storage. So
Were they stealing it?
No. We were sitting there walking, and eventually a young lady came over. Me and Bev was in our unit by theirs. And they said, well, we're here because our daughter, she has a master's degree and a PhD degree, and she just lost her job because of Doge cuts. And she just found out, and we had to move, and we just went up to DC and got her stuff and bring her back down here. And we're putting in the storage. And never once did they say anything negative about President Trump or Elon Musk.
Wow.
That don't mean anything.
Yeah.
Don't mean anything.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you.
Yeah. Wow.
My daughter, who has a PhD, master's degree, working for the government, some department she says she's working with, and somehow it has something to do with the foreign aid piece.
Yeah.
It's like, let's just go get her stuff.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
I don't know if that's what they voted for or not, but let's just go get her stuff.
Wow.
Goldberg, it's nice being back. I know we got to run, but it's nice being back.
We're going to
Talking
Toyota.
junk. Hey, listen, if anybody sees Chuck Schumer, tell Chuck I said he could come from under the desk right now. And on his way out, just resign from stay in office. I know you want that position. That's cool. But resign from leadership because you're really embarrassing us, Chuck. You embarrassing us. As a Democrat, lifelong Democrat, you embarrassing me. You are an embarrassment. Thank you.
Find Bill and Odell online at thecommonground.show. This podcast is a production of BG Ad Group. All rights reserved.
Attention men, here's an important new podcast you need to be listening to.
So this whole issue about prostate and prostate health and all the challenges and that we're having with it, but no one's talking. So that's the reason why I started this podcast, so we can talk, so we can get understanding. I understand I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical individual. I'm just an ordinary, normal guy who had some issues to say, hey, let's talk about this thing.
P is for prostate with Odell Cleveland. Download anytime where you get your podcasts. And join for the full podcast at www.patreon.com/Odell Cleveland.
Whether you're a big, medium, or small business, managing and growing the bottom line is important. Focus CFO brings the experience and financial acumen of a Fortune 100 Chief Financial Officer to your company at a fraction of the cost. P&L help, internal reporting processes, or any business transitions or events. Focus CFO will help you and your team have a CFO in your company's back pocket. Focus CFO. Learn more at focuscfo.com.